Hello, and welcome back to the WordPress Edge podcast, the ultimate destination for professionals looking to harness the power of WordPress for large-scale enterprise solutions. I'm your host, Landon DePasquale, enterprise web strategist at AmericanEagle.com. In this episode, we're going to the edge with WordPress and HubSpot. How do they fit in an enterprise architecture? I'm excited to discuss this topic with Steven LaGow, Partner Director here at AmericanEagle.com. Steven, thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it, Landon. Happy to be here.
So, Steven, give us a little background about kind of who you are and what you do here at American Eagle.
Yeah, so I've been with the company for a little over 6 years. I manage relationships with some of our technology partners, of which HubSpot is one, some of our CRM partners, email marketing, marketing automation, and then some of our digital agency partners that kind of do similar work to us, but maybe have a specific niche or a slant that's a little bit different than us, then that complements what we do. So sort of bridging technology, people, process for client satisfaction.
Awesome. So we're here to talk about HubSpot and how it relates to WordPress. Let's start with, who is HubSpot for?
Yeah. So HubSpot is it's a unique player in this space. So it was started in the early 2010s, late aughts. Primarily as an email marketing platform and CRM, and it has continued to grow to being sort of Salesforce's main competitor, I think, in the space. So what they offer in a lot of different ways spans the breadth of the market, different free versions of things, different starter versions of things, all the way up to multinational, large enterprise scalability. The problem, I think, or not necessarily problem, but sort of they cater to so many people that question is often asked. You know, folks that are mom and pops, my first CRM, my first email marketing platform, HubSpot can be a fit for. We have customers that are, huge enterprise, multinational, that are using it in obviously completely different ways, but it also serves their needs too. So I think that's both a strength as well as potentially a detriment, because, they're, in a similar way to when folks ask us, who do we build websites for? The answer really is anyone.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. So, I think where they're trying to position themselves is these upper mid-market moving into enterprise. They're never going to get away from their roots of, a CRM and marketing automation solution that is, the barrier of entry is low. It's attainable, and you can scale with it.
Got it. And so what I'm hearing from you is HubSpot is suitable for enterprise, and it does scale well into those enterprise situations, but it has the flexibility to handle much smaller implementations.
Well. And it's the root of it is growing up, sort of where they're maturing is more enterprise complex customers, moving into that space where what Salesforce is in relation to it as its most primary customer or primary competitor, I think, is you can build whatever you want with Salesforce, right? You can do whatever you need to. HubSpot is much more restrictive in the sense that you can't really change the software too terribly much, but that serves a lot of people, right? It becomes I don't need all of this. I need basic X, Y, and Z, but can scale, for use at to large customers.
Tell me a little bit about the roles that HubSpot fulfills.
Yeah, so it's comprised of 5 hubs. Underlying under all of these is a core customizable database, contacts, companies, opportunities, deals, and tickets. But it's 5 hubs are sort of their feature sets, if you will. So it's bread and butter where it originally came from as marketing hub, email marketing automation, paid ads, social media, landing pages, a blog, those suite of tools belong to Marketing Hub. Sales Hub is your CRM pipeline management. So opportunities, prospecting, forecasting, those sorts of things. Their most recent mature product, I guess, is the CMS Hub, and it certainly serves a need for particular folks that have some of the other suites. But that's sort of the newest full scale hub. Service Hub is their customer service offering, a knowledge base, customer service ticketing portal, sort of management on your CS teams. And then underlying all of this, I don't know if you are familiar with the technology PySync back in the day. HubSpot purchased PySync and then sort of built that into the tool and what they're calling Operations Hub. And Operations Hub is sort of a data automation, cleanliness suite of tools that helps sort of manage the day-to-day of data cleanliness, data quality, helps you identify duplicates, custom webhooks with other solutions like WordPress and some extensibility there. But that's not really it's something that you purchase alongside, some of these other things to make that tool set better. So those are the 5 that they are, in practice today, but where they're going, I think has a lot more use cases with something like WordPress in time.
Yeah. And I realize we're 8-9 minutes into this podcast about WordPress. We're just starting to talk about WordPress now, but we felt it was important to set the stage for full familiarity with HubSpot before we get into what are the benefits of working with WordPress and HubSpot together.
So one of the things about WordPress WordPress and HubSpot that I find are in sync is the UI is not terribly different to achieve similar marketing outcomes. So HubSpot has tools for you to be able to build landing pages, and they're built in the same way to one of the page builders like Elementor, or even sort of the block editors that WordPress has, not dissimilar. But together, they are a low barrier of entry enterprise product suite, right? So we have customers that have, large scale WordPress installations with, WordPress is sort of just the display layer where, it's being driven by content in different places. HubSpot working with WordPress is really an augment. Because it's marketing automation and the power of better understanding, how customers are arriving at your site, behaviors that you can then use for segmentation for further outbound. It becomes an easy platform that WordPress is an easy platform for HubSpot to work with. HubSpot also has a WordPress plugin that is effectively HubSpot inside WordPress. We have a couple customers that use it, and they don't, for marketing purposes, they don't necessarily need to go into HubSpot to manage that. If I'm updating forms, for example, integration with WordPress is a lot of forms, tracking codes. We can iframe specific content into and out of, but it's not necessarily, you're not moving users back and forth because of what they have together natively, right? So a WordPress user already exists in HubSpot and vice versa. So I think that it's a natural augment to the tool. And if somebody has WordPress and they're interested in marketing automation, the UI of email marketing building is not going to be dissimilar to your page building in WordPress. It's going to feel similar. So a lot of our customers that have one or the other, you can see that light bulb kind of go off, moving it that way. That's obviously the basic level, right? We can obviously, so much more can occur within each of these things. If we're thinking about the automation engine of HubSpot allows you to build and segment and provide different behavior triggers on web properties and web actions. So, something like HubSpot calls them a custom behavioral event. You can track on a non-HubSpot page, so something like WordPress, particular button clicks, particular exit actions, and build automations on the back of that to display different content via some of your landing pages or outbound email content, tying somebody's experience from the web to the information that they're going to receive from you on another outbound channel. Those sorts of things are where a lot of the fun stuff comes into play. And the barrier of entry, I keep saying that, but it's true. The barrier of entry is so low, and integration is not a technical endeavor for these two, that it becomes easy to say, these people are performing these actions on my WordPress site. I want to be able to segment them, provide different content, personalize what I can in HubSpot because of that. That I don't think exists with two, enterprise solutions like this natively, really anywhere else.
Yeah, as you described the history of HubSpot, it sounded really similar to WordPress, right? It started as this kind of smaller mom and pop, anyone can use it offering that then grew into this enterprise offering. And what we're seeing is that ability to scale up to those enterprise offerings means that there is flexibility for it to fit into a really unique niche around that ability for someone to very easily, without developers, leverage the power of HubSpot and WordPress together to get exactly the sort of marketing automation, lead gen and nurturing
Yeah.
pieces, all of the data collection, it all just happens there. That's hugely powerful for enterprise organizations.
Yeah, and it's not, no developer is huge, right? The not requiring development resources. This is all market. I mean, both of these tool sets are by developers for marketers, right? I mean, that's the, what they're trying to do. So being able to take a form that you've created in HubSpot with, particular segmentation to display that form or not display that form on a WordPress page based on data that you've already collected in HubSpot is, I mean, that being able to do that out of the box without, calling your dev shop, provides some of those opportunities that I don't think many others can. And the ease of use and workflow, some of our users are saying the same thing. It's easy to do. Not only is is it not complicated, but it is easy.
And with what you're describing, that means you've got a really low barrier to getting new content out and tracking that new content and getting automation around it. It means that enterprise organizations that need to pivot quickly to market trends are able to do that without any real downtime. It also means your return on investment is huge for the amount of money that you're spending for this level of enterprise engagement.
The thing that I think HubSpot wants to get into, and this is really going to be interesting, and you alluded to it a little bit, is content. I think that there is a world, and I'm not sure. I don't. Again, these are rumblings from some of the things that we're hearing from the HubSpot ecosystem and what they were talking about at their inbound conference. But one of the things that they're trying to move toward, I think, is becoming, a content hub. Pardon the pun, but you have if your marketing automation tool is where a lot of your outbound content is, right? Your website is built for inbound in a lot of different ways. Outbound is what HubSpot can provide. Why not be able to use that content to other applications? And I think that is sort of where they're going to be driving towards. We obviously know that WordPress can be used in a headless fashion, displaying content from anywhere. And I think that this integration or these two products are going to be a little more closely knit in time because of where HubSpot wants to go. I think that's kind of my reading between the lines, but being able to generate content within HubSpot that you can display on HubSpot landing pages, on your WordPress homepage, on WordPress product pages, displaying some of the personalization that exists in HubSpot for email, social on the front end of the site is where I think the natural evolution of where HubSpot wants to go is.
You mentioned a little bit the tire connection between HubSpot and WordPress. How does that connection help unify marketing and sales in an enterprise organization between those two tools?
So WordPress is going to be the primary layer of somebody's interaction with you at the beginning. What we want HubSpot or what HubSpot is meant for is understanding those behaviors in order to better deliver information to users to make some of those informed sales and marketing decisions. So installing, tracking pixels where we're following button clicks, not just page views, but button clicks by individuals that you have been interacting with in your targeted accounts, from a sales perspective. Those sorts of things are just configuration on the HubSpot side. It becomes incredibly easy to say, let's take a stab at this. We know this page on our WordPress site is high performing, and people that reach this page or convert from this page, X, Y, and Z, they're more likely to close than others. Well, then we need to be doing everything we can to drive people to that page and then understand immediately when they have converted on that page and act quickly. So if we have some of that data, right, we're being able to within HubSpot say, these page views, show me all of the deals that have been closed or created where that user has also viewed X page on the site. Well, then it becomes incredibly easy for you to say, this page needs to be involved in our funnel. This needs to be in, some of the backlinks to some of our social posts. This needs to be involved in some of our nurture campaigns. And immediately upon a conversion, notifications to those sellers, this happened on this page, we can, flag that for those people. The efficiency, I think, is really where, these enterprise sales teams can see some of that value. And again, without, there's no development in the box. Not to say that you can't. I mean, we have some customers that are custom webhooks to their other applications and, all sorts of things that are fun stuff, but it's not required to hit that value, for a lot of these folks. We talk about on the personalization side, and I'm sure you do on the WordPress side, this crawl, walk, run approach. The same sort of thing can be applied within the integrations between these two tool sets. First, let's get our forms integrated and tracking pixels set up where we need them to be. Then capture and measure data, understand who's doing what, and build automations off of those. If you visited X page 2 or 3 times, which HubSpot can read from your WordPress site, and have not done X, Y, or Z, which we know is the higher value conversion or higher value action, what can we do to coax you to that? So we're allowing users to tell us where they want to be sent, where if I am sent here, it's more likely that I'm going to convert. So those kinds of things are I think, the interesting piece of these two together. Obviously, they're tools, and strategy is going to come into play, and putting together, the right mix of things for you as an organization is going to be paramount. But these are wonderful tools to help accomplish those things.
You've mentioned a couple times personalization, and one of the things that we suggest on our side is always to start with email marketing personalization, because it's so much easier to do than website personalization.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't gotten email personalization down yet, you need to focus on that before you try and personalize your website. With HubSpot and WordPress together, though, I think those lines get blurred a little bit, and it's a little bit easier to leverage in that personalization. Would you say that that's true?
Absolutely. Especially if you have authenticated experiences at all on the WordPress side, where we know I'm a user because I have input my credentials, and now I'm here. I'm receiving personalized email from HubSpot. Hey, Landon, thanks for visiting us at our last event. Would love to see you again. Click here for a promo code. If you have to go and log in, to that space, HubSpot and WordPress can talk to one another and say, this person arrived here via this email, and because of that, we can display content X, Y, and Z. These are, this is our 300 and 400 level personalization tools, but you're exactly right that individually they are not terribly difficult. Together, they're incredibly powerful.
One of the things that, at least my perception is, that we've been seeing is more HubSpot and WordPress builds together in the same technical stack. What efficiencies are you seeing in that common pairing between the two?
A lot of the design for front-end sites is easily translated to design assets within HubSpot. So because HubSpot natively, it's the entirety of it is very similar to WordPress. There's no programming. It's design and then front-end development. So if you're building a WordPress site, same sort of thing, or very little programming for a lot of that. The front end of that, those designs are able to be moved between each other, without, changing or modifying too much between the two of them. So we see folks that are taking on a WordPress site where they're interested in marketing automation and they're interested in a CRM or email marketing tool. We often say, let's do these things together, because some of what we can provide from a strategy perspective is aligned with, within, building the entirety of that campaign. This person belongs to this segment. We send them this email. These pages in WordPress belong to this tag, these kinds of content. If we're capturing that information in HubSpot, we can re-engineer, that person's journey with us. So I think that they are natural complements to one another. As part of a larger digital transformation, we've seen some success with folks that are implementing HubSpot sort of in the beginning of a larger WordPress build to build their database around some of the behaviors that they want to better mirror and to deliver on the WordPress side. So we have a large customer, multinational auto customer, that did exactly that. They implemented HubSpot to better understand where their conversions were occurring, who was spending time on some of those places, because they can see it in both places. I clicked this email, I spent time on this page, I clicked on this CTA, and because of that, I think that it informed where they went ultimately with their WordPress build. These are the kinds of assets that we want to be front and center. So I think in tandem or very close together is really where these implementations make a lot of sense. We've already touched on sort of the why they work, in tandem, but I think the implementation of the two of them in tandem is also really beneficial and becomes this, not necessarily a big bang, but there's going to be a lot of value earned very quickly when both are live.
Do you have an example of a success story where you've seen WordPress and HubSpot work together well?
We have a large, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, a large, sort of national auto industry client of ours that HubSpot, WordPress, and Salesforce is part of their ecosystem. And what they're doing is sort of allowing each of the other systems to dictate and drive content and the experience for the other. So, Salesforce is their source of truth for their selling, their customer information, and HubSpot is their all things marketing, and they have lots of marketing automation trees and workflows based on different behaviors. And is this the first time that you visited one of our events? Is this the 50th time you visited one of our events? Are you this participant? Are you this kind of participant? And because of that, they're also layering in the behaviors that somebody has on the front end of that site to better sort of branch out within those larger segments. So, HubSpot becomes an easy place for us to say, I am customer A, I'm customer B, I'm prospect A, I'm prospect B at the highest level. If we're building automations based on their behaviors as well, we can say, I'm prospect A that has done X, Y, and Z and not B. I'm prospect B that has done Y and Z, but not X. And because of that, the content that I'm receiving prior to an event or post an event becomes a lot more tailored to my experience or what they assumed was my experience based on, other segments and other cohorts of people that way. A little bit more down market, we have some customers that are doing some of the more rudimentary things that we're talking about, some of the lead scoring based on pages viewed in HubSpot, bubbling those things up and creating opportunities for people that, hey, by the way, this person has visited this 3 times. It's our pricing page. We're counting that as, a 10-point page versus some of the other ones are half a point. We understand those sorts of rules without any integration required. I mean, we're talking about a tracking pixel that's installed at the footer of the theme in WordPress and building out some of these lead scoring and lead nurturing campaigns based on behaviors that we're looking for somebody there. So as enterprises, as auto customer can be, even the basic things that they're doing within, the ecosystem, with both of these tools is incredibly powerful for them that you as a user don't really tie together. It's like, I am this customer and I visited this page and I went to this event, and all of my communication is revolved around those experiences of myself. And maybe that's not, Netflix style personalization where this is what's next up for you. And because you watched this, everybody else watched this, but it's still a nice experience for me, right? They're delivering something that feels about me, that isn't necessarily or difficult for them to accomplish either.
Awesome. Steven, is there anything else you wanted to mention about that connection between HubSpot and WordPress before we finish it out?
No, I think, ultimately, I'm really excited about where they're going to go. I think that content is going to be the core of what HubSpot wants to do. And then with WordPress's flexibility, it's incredibly easy for us to see, at least from this view, the application. WordPress is scalable and so much more secure than 5-10 years ago. It is a truly an enterprise tool set that I think will only be aided with other tools that are going to meet it where it lives. So HubSpot's content, however this takes shape, and I'm sure they're going to call it Content Hub or try to call it Content Hub. Something like that, where information that you're publishing across landing pages, emails, social, where you're marketing to the people, that same language without having to type it into 2 different places can be piped that way. I can only imagine some of the possibilities that we're going to be able to see with automation on the backside of that. So really excited to see the molding of these two tools, even more so than they already are.
Awesome. Steven, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks all.
Thanks again for joining us at The Edge. I am your host, Landon DiPasquale. And until the next episode, feed your WordPress obsession. For more information about today's episode and the topics discussed today, check out our dedicated WordPress Edge landing page at AmericanEagle.com Studios.